Well, we've got Alfredo Hernando today joining us. Thank you very much, Alfredo.
Thank
You're
you.
you're
Hi.
you're currently in Austria, in Vienna, and I know that you're mentally in Austria and Spain because you do a lot of work in Spain as well. I'm interviewing you here from Sydney in Australia. I guess technology makes these amazing things quite straightforward, and I guess we're talking now about a world which is relying totally on technology to sort of provide continuity for kids learning. And our topic today is to look at what's happening at the whole issue of online learning, which I guess some of us are referring to as remote learning. When I use the term remote learning, I'm thinking of something bigger than just online. It's learning in our houses, whatever that looks like. So for you, what do you think is the big topic that is sort of in your head at the moment when it comes down to that whole issue of remote learning or online learning?
Well, I think like we are in a very unusual situation, so we cannot say that it is a transformation of schools, or that we move from online from schools working to daily based life to online learning. So it is a very different situation. We are living in a global crisis. And I think that the main area we are talking now about this transformation from one day to another to working online is how schools manage to work with new learning platforms, technological device, but looking for the infusion of new spaces that they are not schools, and the new way of methodologies. So how we manage to integrate technology, space, and methodology. That is the big challenge we are facing now when we are working online for our homes.
Now, much of your work as a writer and as an academic and a psychologist has been around the areas of systems approaches to education. I know that you've done a lot of training in that area. You've also got a very good understanding of education from around the world. Are you picking up common problems, or are there some unique problems in some communities that you're seeing?
I think we are trying, we could think like if we have a kind of a spectrum from the transformation of what is happening now. We have schools in this side of the spectrum that they are trying to do the same homework. They are trying to work with pencils at home. They are sending pictures from the homework, and they are understanding that the online working at home is the same work that is happening in the school. And they are trying to replicate the same timetable, the same areas, and it is not working. And this will be the, if you could call it, the zero transformation of the online methodology. And then we have, at the other side, we could think schools that are working like we do with music, with Spotify, or with another platforms. We have contents, we have lessons. They move, the students move how they want. They can mix these lessons. They use different methodology. It's not about the album or the CD. It's about how they mix and they work in different paths because of the needs they have. And between of these two sides of this big line, we have different solutions, and schools are trying to manage how they contact and they get in touch with the students. So we have this line of solutions, and I think it's not about total online or total homework, but by pencil. Is the question is, what do you students need? How can you reach them the best way? Because of we need to think about which device they have, the social background. So it's about this transformation in this line.
Yeah.
So one of the main topics, as I think we are all over the globe working at the same time, is that we are looking for the advantage and disadvantage from the use of technology, and the key factors from social contact what's happening in the school. So we are learning that when we have technology, we can manage better some data about how the schools, how the students, they respond, how fast, how they learn, how can we build different activities. But at the same time, this technology is very good with quantity evaluation, with quantity assessment. But at the same time, we miss the qualitative assessment. We miss the contact. We miss the real, like more than qualification. We really miss the feedback, the social feedback that we have, and that is what we are trying to do with video. But still, teachers all over the world are missing this emotional feedback that they give to the students. So we are learning that technology is working very good in some way, but we need some of the things that teachers were great doing it, and we are not able to do at the same time with technology.
I mean, it is going to be an interesting context post-pandemic, that there'll be so much research that can be done as we look back and we analyze what actually has happened around the world. But obviously we're right in the middle of it at the moment. If we take the scenario of a school that's sort of thrown themselves enthusiastically into online, whatever that means for them, that probably means that they're using Zoom, or they might be using some tool, and they're probably starting off trying to replicate their day, and they're probably pretty stressed because they've actually had no experience in this beforehand, and those issues to do with social contact and stuff are starting to rear their head. What advice would you give, I guess, A, to a teacher, and B, to the school, in terms of what they should really start thinking about a couple of weeks into the process?
I think the best thing we can do is really work as a team. I think we need leadership from the head teachers. And it is the best moment right now, not going crazy about platforms and about tools, but just, try to take 1 day, 2 days with your team, with your head teacher, with your colleagues to build your digital building. Like how we are going to manage all of this daily life. We cannot use, every teacher cannot use different tools. We need to work really as a team, and we need to use this kind of, we have in our daily lives, we go to school, and we have this building, and this building is organized, and then we have bibliothèque, we have classrooms, we have halls, and then we communicate. And then we really need to think which tools are going to use to have our digital school. How is going to be our digital school? Sometimes I work with teachers, and we do this exercise with Lego pieces. So we build our digital building made of different platforms, tools, and software that we are going to use. We cannot have all of them. We really need to have a building that is doing our daily life and the digital online learning manageable. And then so we have to come up with a structure about how it's going to work in our new digital environment. And that is the first thing I really teachers should start working. How is going to be the communication? We are going to have this tool, we are going to have this another one. And then once this is decided, we can manage to organize a new daily life that is, of course, not going to be the same one that we have in the school, because time and places in a digital learning are not the same than time and places when we are working in the present life. So I love this idea of this Italian writer Alessandro Barrico, who is working about the transformation of digital work, and he has this beautiful metaphor that is telling that our life is a heart. And we are pumping bits from the digital world, and we are pumping atoms from our presence, but it's the same heart. We are working together, and we are mixing this all of what is happening. It's not about digital or social presence. It's that we are pumping together in the same heart. And because of that, when we listen to music, it doesn't matter where is the music. We feel the same.
We want to listen to music. We want to dance. We want to move. It doesn't matter if we do it with Spotify, we do it with a CD, we do it at home with an old cassette. The thing is that in the main of this heart is the learning of the students. So we really need to focus on what is the best now for learning. That is, of course, not going to be the same timetable that we had when we were in the school.
So yeah, so we got that context where it can't be the same timetable, and you've got, I guess, that the tension between content and creativity. Is there, do you have a preference between, if that was the continuum, as to what you think people should be trying to develop?
One of the crazy things that happen is that we have the best environment now to work all of these abilities, all of these competence that we most of the time forget in school. We have to work now about creativity. We have to work now about learning how to learn. We want to work these things in schools, but we always say we don't have the time. But now we are really in a situation that they are the first one priority at home, with the families, empathy, social competence. All of this is what is happening now in this global crisis, and this has to be one of the best opportunities to work with families and with children at home. And once I say this, the thing about what is happening with homework and the daily and the content is that if we are organizing the teaching with activities that they are not bringing the best of this competence, then these activities, this model, this project is not working. We cannot have students that they are working at home and doing 25 operations per day, and they have to study afterwards. Then these whole operations, this whole exercise, they are not working. We have to develop a path of learning and exercise activities that implies that the learning is happening. So because some of the things that are also are taking place is that we send a lot of homeworks, and then we tell the students they also have to study afterwards. So that is all of messed up. So we have to really think in as teaching now that is the way that they are doing some of these activities, that they don't have to be digital. They can work at home, they can do experiments, they can work with their parents. All this path that we are creating, it has to come up with learning. We cannot say afterwards, they have to sit and take the books and they have to read, learn, because learning, it has to happen all the way through the path of what we are doing.
Yeah. Now, one of the comments again I'm hearing from people would be some schools who have struggled have said, okay, but we're getting on top of what needs to happen for the older kids, for the older teenagers, and for perhaps junior secondary. The group that I hear that are struggling the most are the teachers of younger primary, perhaps the 5, 6, 7-year-olds. Now, I know that you're a parent of younger kids, younger than that. Again, what do you think would be the healthiest learning environment for kids who are age 4, 5, 6? Say, for instance, what would you like to see happening?
I have 2 kids, 5 and 3 years old, and we are doing the whole time. We are working with now the main area for now. The main topic, the main content is how do you make the most of toilet paper. We are doing all the kind of things. We are building all the kind of things with our rest of the toilet paper. We are building the whole day. We are really building the whole day. I will say you need to buy food, but you also need to buy cartons, scissors, glue. We are building the whole day. And I think it's one of the main areas. It's an excellent opportunity to tell your kids, how do you want to organize your day? What do you want to learn today? And this is also what we do. We get up, and maybe it takes us an hour to get a little bit organized with the children, but we say, what do you want to do today? Where is the area? I also have friends that they are working every 2 days with a different country. And then they say, oh, today we are going to live in Australia, for instance. We are going to move to Sydney, and they are looking about the country. They are saying, okay, what are we going to cook today? Let's put a blanket on the living room, and let's make all of us, surfing in the living room. So it's really about with younger children. It's about movement. It's about creating. It's about building. And there are also, of course, apps. There are also screen time. I'm looking forward to look at kind of a small video parties with my children where we watch some kind of short animated movie, and then we could talk. But they also want to watch one after another without talking. We are trying to do some of different activities. But one of the things is is the best time now to work and create with your children. In this age, 4, 5, 6, ask them what they want to do, and if for the first time you can really organize your learning. Take them with you. We made something very interesting. We create our own timetable, but we made draws about different activities. So they take the draws and they say, okay, I want to make a cake. I want to work about wherever. I want to build something. So they don't write, but they use these draws to organize the day. And I think building, creating together, writing your own book, it is the best thing you can do with these young learners.
Okay, so it sounds very much that you're not worrying about your child's long-term educational journey based on what's happening now.
I don't know if I should, but I don't.
but there are many governments and many parents who are worrying. How do we convince those people that they don't need to worry, that they can relax? But what would you see as a strategy?
One of the things that happen is that, of course, now the social distance, it becomes the digital distance. If we don't have a good device, if we don't have a good connection, then we are going to have a social breakdown, not only because of the schools, but the way you want to talk with your family. So now connection, internet, device are becoming one of the first priorities. So of course there are families who don't have the way to connect the same tools that I have, and then there's really a barrier there, and there are also worries. So I think one of the best things we can do if we feel this connection barrier is that look forward to books, look forward to reading, look forward to use the connection, the most of the connections we have, and try to keep the whole, everything is an excuse to learn. Everything is there is an opportunity to learn something in every corner of our homes, and I see they are building right now a lot of national programs with activities for children, and I think there are going to be a lot of children that they need this inspiration of activities, a lot of families, but also because a lot of these children, they are alone at home. There are still families, father, mothers, that they have to work. They have to be in the first line of the crisis. So we have to trust that our children, they can learn without us, and this is a big step. I think for me, there's always in the history of education, there's this big tension between learning and teaching. And some of us, we believe in learning, and some of us, we believe in teaching, and we want to work together. But sometimes the teaching is taking the learning away, and we need to believe that our children, they want to learn. We have to build certain conditions where they will learn. So there is an opportunity of learning in every corner of our home. We have to trust that something is going to happen with them, really. And I'm sure it will happen.
Okay, well, we're sort of heading towards the end of our time. So I'd like to go thinking ahead a little bit now in two ways. For those kids who have discovered that they can be independent, how do you think schools should cope with them when they come back? I mean, it seems to me that the two things that kids are going to want to have will be seeing their friends and being outside. So if schools,
I think the first reaction after all of the world is going outside is going to be great. All of us are going to, we miss so much each other. We are going to love to meet each other again. It's going to be, like a huge explosion. Everyone is going to hug each other. The contact is going to be great. But after this first, explosion, this first contact wave, we are going to think how we did it, how we manage the time, where are the opportunities that we had, what have we learned, and then children are going to think, I can do a lot by myself. So all of this idea of having the timetables of the schools about math, language, and then science, and then English, and then whatever, it had to change. We need to put the focus on how we learn, how is the the wave of learning, and then we can say what don't we have students that they have special places in the school where they can go and learn alone, and they come back to the class, and how we move to new spaces where we can work in teams, we can work alone, we can work in class, we have the tutors over there. So I think in a lot of ways, what we are living is a global crisis that is going to be an acceleration of technology, communication, industry. But in education, I hope is also a big and great push of transformation of schools. And I would love to see that we believe in students and how we organize new schools that also believe in the power of learning by themselves.
All right, I think that's a really powerful point to finish up on, and I think we are right in the middle, and we have to think about what do we do now to try and rectify or redirect thinking around what happens with learning at home. But when we do get that luxury of thinking beyond the crisis, I think there's going to be an amazing world for us to assess what we can do. So thanks so much for your words today.
Thank you for the contact and for the interview and the conversation.
No, I think it's going to be really, really helpful, because I think you've touched on a number of really, really interesting points there. And I guess giving people the confidence to say that they can move away from timetables and they can move towards family connection and family creativity is one of the things I picked up. So thank you.